out a way, I mean, I think this is between Danny and us. I want people to be able to submit questions to us so we can kind of go through some questions and answer them for the people watching. But the question that I get a lot throughout the years, which is an annoying, it's annoying because people don't understand what goes in it. The first is like, hey, I know you're getting bigger and stronger and you're still kickboxing. Can you send me your weight program? Which I think is funny. Yeah, hold on a second. Let me just quickly, just even if it wasn't about the money, even if it wasn't about that, it's years. How do you just create a plan? It's just crazy. I just love when people just hit you up with me wanting to send the plans. But I think the big question that people want to know, Costa, is how are we able to still weight train and kickbox at a high level? How do you do both at a high level? And probably some of the myths behind that is you lift, you get too slow. You lift, you're going to lose that speed. So how do you keep both at a very high level? And usually the question is how often someone should lift in a week, right? So those are the basic ones I always get. And again, this could be a 4-year discussion on starting about rep range, what's your goals, how much time do you have, what's your energy levels, rate of perceived exertion, days of the week you have, do you work another job? I mean, there's so many variables into it, but I guess we can just hit it from a general standpoint.
What do you mean? You think that I ramble, Joe? Of course I do.
Of course. And then this answer here is going to probably go off in like 5 different ways. So let's see
and
what
we'll have nothing, and we'll have nothing, no part of the original question answered.
Yes, that's the cost.
So the first thing I'm going to say is, and I've addressed it a lot, but it involves addressing all the time because you still get it. People are like, oh, I'm going to get too big, too slow. Buddy, you're not going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're not going to be Joe. If it was that easy, if I lift up a weight, then I'd be, how jacked that would be right now? Like,
look, if I even look at the weight room, I get jacked.
Yeah, okay.
If I even look at dumbbells, my biceps grow.
It's not going to, I don't care how hard you're going to train. You're not going to be Schwarzenegger. I mean, if you are, then you know what? You're going to figure that out real quick. But that's 1% of the population.
Good luck.
If you train hard, you're gonna get some increased muscle mass. You're not gonna be muscle bound. You're not gonna look like the Michelin Man. You're not gonna look like a pro bodybuilder, but you're gonna have some nice muscle. You're gonna cut down your fat a little bit. You're gonna feel better. You're gonna look better if you've done it. Mentally, you're gonna feel better as well. I think mental health is a huge aspect of weight training. It's gotten me through a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of people who are in the gym, and here we go off in a different direction already. A lot of people who get in the gym, they're like, I'm not getting any results. I'm not this. But they feel great. And if you get your mind, if you're, you get those endorphins going, your mind feels great. That's the battle there. Who are you looking at, Joe?
No, we have one of our friends coming in.
Oh, that's fun.
But it's only on you, Costa. You're calling me out.
Okay,
the video's only recording me.
Sorry. So, your mental health aspect, and then you're going to want to train more, and you're going to want to do better in life, like kickboxing. So, you know what? If you want to do better in kickboxing, the mental aspect is a lot of it. So if you feel better from weight training, you're going to do better in kickboxing. But everyone's like, oh, am I going to overtrain? No, you sit. And again, I'm not speaking to the top 1%. I'm speaking to the 80%. Those percentages don't mix up, but you get my point. You're not overtraining. You sit at a desk all day. You don't have the capacity to overtrain. If anything, you're undertraining. Very few people overtrain. They undereat.
Okay, but let's not talk about it because I'm sure most of the people now who I'm going to kind of control your ranting, but most people who be listening here aren't just general people. They want to know about performance. There may be amateur fighters. So I don't really care about. I mean, I still care about those people, but I don't care about the business person wanting a strong mindset. I want that person who might be working in an office and still have to kickbox and have to weight train for performance because he's got a fight in 2 months, Yeah, that's the person we got to address.
So I would do 3 days kickboxing, 2 days 2 days weight training, 2 to 3 days weight training, and 1 to 2 days rest.
You would think only 3 versus 2. I mean, you got to think. Remember, if we're addressing an amateur who it has a fight, would you say maybe 1 day a week? Wouldn't it be
How
better
many
to
weeks
get
out are we
more?
talking?
See,
So are we
this is the
talking
general
leading up?
question, right? This is why people, it's actually good we're having a discussion, because when people ask these questions, these are the questions that you need to know these answers.
Off season, I do 3 and 3. If you don't have a fight coming up, I do 3 and 3.
You would
Especially if you're
value
trying to
that much,
focus.
50-50, really?
If you're trying to focus on your on your goals of getting bigger, stronger. I know that kind of completely contradicts what I was talking about for pro fighters at the beginning, but if I'm talking about amateur fighters, 3 and 3, if you're leading up to a fight, so we're talking the 15-week phase, I would move that to a 4 and 2.
Yeah.
With the 1 day off, because that's the point where you really got to hone in on your kickboxing skills. So you're going to build that. Another reason to go 3 and 3 is you're going to build that strength base in the off season, because you have time to focus to that.
Yeah, this is what periodization means and what people need to understand, right?
Yeah, and if you do it right, you're not going to get slow. If you're bodybuilding, you might. You're not even going to get slow. You're not going to But if you have a proper strength program that focuses on that, takes cycles in terms of explosiveness, that you have some agility work in there, some speed work and strength, but mainly strength and explosiveness. So you're able to take that weight and you're able to explode it and move it quickly. Okay, so that trains your hips, which is the engine of your body in kickboxing. That your energy systems to move a lot of weight quickly, which generates force. So you're going to teach your body that in the off season, and then when you're doing your maintenance, which is 4 and 2, leading up to a fight, your body already kind of has that, and you can just kind of maintain and work on that leading up to a fight. But you have to put in more skills work going up to a fight, but you still have to have that maintenance so you don't lose all the work you put in on the strength side in the off season.
Yeah, and it's also important to understand rep ranges as well. Right now, obviously, I'm not competing right now, so part of me is wanting to get bigger and stronger. So I've been infatuated that my whole life. The bigger, the stronger you can get, the better you are. So
that's sick. Yeah.
I did have to, though, realize that I did have to pull back my kickboxing a little bit sometimes, because I needed those extra time under tension in the weight room in order for my muscles to grow a little bit. So, again, now that I train full time, I'm able to work out, rest, and then kickbox at night. And I think that's where I want you to hit on a little bit now is weight training and kickboxing on the same day, because some people like to do both on the same day. Right? So how would you address that?
You know what? It's all your schedule. Ideally, you don't want to, but if you have to, you have to. So, for example, when I was coaching the Leafs, strength coaching the Leafs with Matt, the guys would have to do their strength training in the morning and go play at night. And then the off days, on practice days, they would do strength training in the morning. In game days, they wouldn't do strength training. It would just be some
like mobility recovery stuff. Right?
Yeah, just the warm-ups and stuff. But on practice days, they'd have to practice every day. These are pro hockey players making millions, so coach wants them to practice every day. So we'd have to do the strength that day, and we would do it after practice. Because
strength after practice.
Strength after practice. Here's why.
I would have thought it would have been the opposite.
When you're preparing for a fight, the skills are the most important. So you got to do that work first. It's not ideal to do the strength work second, but in terms of strength development and maintenance, but you have to understand the sport comes first. And that's what you want to do, because you're in the ring and all that matters is your technique and your experience. So that's why you would do it first. And then if you have anything in the gas tank left, you do your strength work later. But you, as a coach, you have to adjust that. So you're not going to be doing your max effort after you just had a crazy training session. So again, a reason to hire a good coach is they will understand how to ramp up or ramp down your training session based on how your nervous system's feeling, how your training session went earlier, how your body's feeling.
I think that's the key, is talking about the nervous system, because after some big lifts, like after you deadlift or you squat, you're exhausted. It takes, honestly, sometimes a day to recover. So if you're actually getting some maximum effort, it might take a day to recover. I mean, on a day I'm deadlifting, if you're going to expect me now to just go right over and to kickbox or spar, I'm going to be affected a little bit. So understanding the time between workouts, I think, is important too.
Yeah, skills always come first. And as a strength coach, it's weird for me to say that, because Other coaches are always protecting their spot, but you know how I protect my spot and my job as a strength coach? I make sure my athlete wins, my athlete succeeds, and they play their best. And that if that means they're doing their skills training first, and I have to walk back their strength training after to a maintenance, and that's what we got to do, because in the end it's about the athlete, it's about how they perform on the field, not what their bench press is, not what their deadlift is, unless they're powerlifting, right?
And even those who are listening who aren't necessarily fighters but want to get into shape and they use kickboxing as a form of exercise, at that point, like some of the days that I do in order to, like on my weight training days, a lot of time, I have added bag work at the end just to help with, lowering some of the fat content, getting my cardio in. So I'll lift, and then instead of doing my bag work where I'm doing those hard explosive rounds or my sparring or my pad work, I'm doing my bag work post weight room with more like longevity. Take my time, more as like a cardio burner just to get my strikes in. So I'm still getting my kickboxing in, but I'm not doing it as a full demanding day where I'm expecting myself to do maximum effort in the gym. On those days where I need to spar or anything like that, I make sure I kind of stay out of the weight room, or if I do spar after, I do it with a little bit more gap in between. Well, we didn't do a little cheers and a little celebration that we wanted to do. Or what do they call it? Zoom happy hours.
Zoom happy. Oh gosh, oh man, I don't even want to start going on that one again. It's upsetting.
But,
I was gonna wear some fun socks, Joe. Some fun socks. We could have called it Fun Sock Day on the Zoom happy hour, because that's how ridiculous this are.
I can't see your socks, so it's okay. You can lie to us now and say you got some nice socks on.
Yeah, we know how much you like fun socks.
It's not that I like fun socks. It's just a few times Costa has come over to my house and he had holes in his socks, and I was upset.
That never happened once.
I was upset.
Never happened once. Once again.
Do not come to my house with holes in your socks. I get upset.
I never have.
Or come with really bad socks. Come with nice socks, especially if you're going to someone's house and you're going to
be stepping around their house.
Yeah, wear some nice socks. And I also disagree with people wearing white socks. You should not own white socks, and if you go to someone's house, don't wear white socks.
Yeah, I haven't had white socks in a long time.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I'm with you on that, Joe, 100%.
But I think the last point here with you, Costa, and I think with strength and conditioning, we'll end it here. 1, 2 points, and I caught myself saying it, and I put myself into it. Just understanding that strength and conditioning is two different things completely. And everyone just wants to group it together. So understanding that part of being an athlete and a successful one, you have to have good strength, and you have to have good conditioning. And they're trained and worked on two separate ways, two different energy systems, two different ways to improve either side. So just understand that.
You know how much I hate these people out there? Okay, general public, fine. But if you're training, who do these circuits with like weights and like, oh yeah, look how, they're going around this circuit doing like bench pressing on one, chin-ups on the other, kettlebells on the other. What are you doing? What are you doing? And you're supposed to be training a fighter. What are you training? Like, you can't – they're two different energy systems. Strength and, like, your energy systems are two completely different things. Stop going to the old school, like what were the old school UFC shows where Sean Shirk used to do that, and we're like, oh, yeah, you got to do that nonsense. And then, like, YouTube, they're doing – this is just YouTube. It's just entertainment, guys. Like – I mean, come on. If you're going to lift. If you're going to do conditioning, train energy systems. Stop trying to do some nonsense, Like, we're doing it for purpose. You might as well just put some kickboxing in between there, too. Why not do everything? Like,
what was the line you kept saying? So for those who haven't seen it, I do have a documentary out there. It's called Fighting for Glory, the Joseph Valtellini story.
Heavy.
And it was made by one of our boys, Brian Avellino, who followed us for a couple years and kind of got a really good documentary out. So I highly recommend everyone to watch it. But the one thing was your line in there. You're like something about, you'll say it better than me, something about, what's the point? If you're not in the weight room, it's like hitting someone with a fly swatter. You had a line like that I really like.
Well, it's a little bit different. So it's like, if you're not having any power on your punches, okay, if you're... you can, it's like you said, if you're not having any explosiveness, you can have some pretty good technique, but it's like, you want to hit someone with a fly swatter, or you want to hit someone with a brick? What's going to, all coming in at the same speed, okay? But one's a little stronger. What's going to hurt you more, right? It's been a few years since the documentary, so I don't remember it exactly. So I butchered
and you're
that,
not good with requoting.
Yeah, apparently. I talk quickly. I'm better in practice than I am in just talking, but whatever.
But yeah, and then I just think the importance thing of understanding strength for me and is just the mindset of when I fought, it was knowing that I did the strength and conditioning with Costa that gave me in-ring confidence, which is crazy. I mean, you could think about it. It's like me knowing, like, I used to go to weigh-ins, and the first thing I look at is I check my opponent's legs out. I was like, that guy can't deadlift and squat what I can. He's the fly swatter. I'm the brick, you know? Like, that's the first thing I look at. I'm like, if he's got small legs, little glutes, you know, no hamstrings, I was like, where's he going to get that power from? He might be as technical as me, right? He's probably maybe more. I won't say that, but because he has 100 professional fights, but me knowing that I could pull 500 pounds off the ground, I could squat like 400 pounds, me knowing that and my legs were bigger and I knew that power came from the ground and generation from the legs and I knew my legs and my hip strength was, you know, the best in the world. That gave me the confidence that I knew I'd be able to low kick and smash them. So strength and conditioning for mindset in my career was, you know, pivotal. It was so important.
I bet you he could hit a fastball though, Joe.
Yeah, maybe. I'm telling you I can. And until that moment, you guys can say what you want. But I'm still disrespected that you guys think that way of me.
All right. I'm hungry. I got to go.
All right. All right, Koss. Good seeing you, buddy. We'll try to catch up next week.
Always a pleasure.
Take care, Koss.
Later, gents.